Welcome back to another episode of the Jersey Oddcast with Joseph F. Bernardo, Gabriel J. Donio, and me, Gina Rullo. Joe, how have you been
Yes.
feeling?
I actually called out of work 2 days last week, so that should tell you how I was feeling. I think the last time I called out of work was because I had the plague at the top of 2023.
Gabe, can you footnote for the people what Joe means by the plague?
I think he's referring to COVID-19.
I
Joe,
am pen.
when you say it out loud on air, it's alarmist.
That's what it felt like 5 years ago. The world was shut down. You breathed on somebody and you were a pariah. It felt like the plague, so
Yeah, I
it
don't.
was
Yeah,
global. I'm calling it. I didn't have bubonic plague. I didn't have the
right.
Black Death.
You didn't have any real plague.
No,
Okay,
but
so your residents missed you this week because you called out for work 2 days?
2 days, yeah. Yeah, that was how I was feeling. And I wasn't feeling much better on Good Friday, so much to the point that I didn't even realize it was Good Friday. And I ended up missing something that I don't think I've missed in 20 years, the crabs and spaghetti dinner at Never Their Gun Club. I didn't even realize until 8 o'clock that night that A, it was Good Friday, and B, I missed out on my favorite dinner. Now, yeah, okay, I can go to the one in November because they always have one on the Friday before Election Day. But and I've written about this before, there's just something about the one for Good Friday that is so much tastier, and I just completely slipped my mind.
I
So
can't believe that, Joe, because that is your event.
it is,
Like, it's your thing you look forward to. You love the food, the people. You've been
yeah,
going forever.
yeah.
Did
And
your
then
dad go?
no, he hasn't gone for a number of years,
Okay.
but rain, sleet, dark of night, I always go. And 8 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, today was crabs and spaghetti. Just didn't even register. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just keep eating my broccoli pizza.
Uh,
Yeah,
Not the same. It's a
definitely not the
uniquely
same.
Hammontonian tradition,
Yeah,
and it's a shame to miss it any year. It's like saying, "Oh, I'll get a sausage and pepper sandwich some other like next July."
yeah,
But
no,
you miss it.
yeah. You could get a sausage and pepper sandwich from any pizza joint in town. It is not the same as getting it during feast week.
Yeah.
I could order crabs and spaghetti at most any Italian restaurant, I am certain, but it's not the same as getting it on Good Friday at the Never Their Gun Club. So, guys, sorry I missed it. I'll be there in November.
Do
My
you think there were
apologies.
any other Joe Bernados there representing the name?
I like to think so. I think my cousin, the twin, was probably there. He's usually there.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the very least, there was one. I often joke that you need at least two, preferably three, for it to be an official town function. And there have been many occasions where I'm like, oh, okay, there's my cousin Joe. There's Joe Boy. There's Joe the twin. There's this one. Okay, it's an official town function. Hopefully, it fit the bill, and if not, then that's my fault, and I'm sorry.
In other news, I'm not sure if Joe having the plague is news, but in other news,
He didn't have the plague.
I
oh,
had a
sorry.
plague.
He was just sick this time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't mean
All
to be
right.
alarmist. I'm not sounding the bell. In other news, a woman was severely injured when a train struck a car in Gloucester County Monday evening, and Monday evening being April 14th. The accident happened just after 6 p.m. near the intersection of West Boulevard and Catawba Avenue in the Newfield section of Franklin Township. And according to published reports, the Franklin Township Police Department said one woman was airlifted to Cooper Hospital with severe injuries. There was video footage online involving a car pushed up against the front of the engine. And those tracks, according to the published report that I read, it says those tracks are normally used to move freight between Camden and Vineland. And this is the second train versus car accident in South Jersey this month, according to reports. But it just reminded me that we had a couple of those accidents very early on in our journalistic careers. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah, they're 2 weeks apart, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah,
And
Bellevue Avenue. Yeah.
both at the same intersection.
Yeah.
You're talking about Bellevue Avenue, like you said, Gina, and Egg Harbor Road, and they were both that unbelievable staggered 2 apart. One was a pickup truck, the first one, and the other one was like a white, just a car that
Yeah.
got hit so hard it was thrown in front of the Main Street offices in their
Oh,
landscaped area.
And for me, having just moved to town and not growing up with train tracks in my community like that, we had when I lived in New York City, we had obviously the subway and then the elevated train system, but they didn't really run through town on ground level. So I remember saying to Gabe, I'm like, does this happen all the time? Is this what we're always going to be writing about? And Gabe's like, no, this never happens. And then it's very jarring.
Yeah, it's happened since, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
not often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the last 25 years, you could count on one hand, I think. Less than one hand.
That seems
But
accurate.
that
Yeah.
particular auspicious beginning in 1997 was like wild because you thought, boy, this is, let alone one, but to have two in such short distance apart in time it was nuts. But we have to look at constantly to remind people to watch out at that intersection, make sure the gates are down, and just be careful because it is a unique configuration there of the streets of 12th Street, Bellevue Avenue, Railroad Avenue, Egg Harbor Road, and a railroad crossing and Front Street.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when NJ Transit was refurbishing those lines and they were about to reopen that line because it had been decades since there was passenger service going through town. I was in middle school at the time, and they showed us the most horrific videos that just scared the hell out of you. And I don't know anyone with whom I went to school who even chances crossing when the train might be nearby because of those videos. They were terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
So you're saying when you guys were kids, the train didn't run that often? Is that what you're saying?
No,
There
yeah,
was
no, it did
there,
not.
no, there was
That
no
was a
passenger service in
function.
town.
What year, Joe? 89 or
89, 90, somewhere in there was when that line opened. But before that, it was freight for the longest time. And I do remember seeing the train for Ringling Brothers go through from time to time.
Like the actual
yeah.
circus?
Yeah, yeah, it was going on its way, I guess, from Philly to Atlantic City, and you'd see it's like 100 cars go by, and you'd hear elephants and lions and all that. Yeah,
And prior
Okay,
to
that's
that,
kind of cool.
it was the Pennsylvania Railroad line, and also would be used by the Blue Comet of the New Jersey Central, that line. And then there was the Reading Railroad
Mhm.
line, which was over by where the Wawa is on 12th Street,
yeah,
parallel.
but those passenger lines, they had been stopped for decades
Yep.
before NJ Transit picked it up and started the service from Lindenwold to Atlantic City.
Yeah. Originally, Gina had been nicknamed the Gamblers Express. The
Yeah, I
idea
remember
being
hearing
that
that.
we're going to bring people by train down to Atlantic City.
I guess I never put it together that there was no passenger trains until then. I always thought it was always something was always continuously running. It never occurred to me that no, there wasn't. It was just freight. That's fascinating. If you're looking to move to Hammonton, whether it's your business or to buy a home, what realtor should people use, Gabe?
Gina, I think they should contact Phil Carr of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609-561-0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate that. On April 17th, the Atlantic County grand jury indicted Daniel Zhang, 23, of Egg Harbor City on 15 counts of invasion of privacy, a third-degree crime. In September 2024, Hamilton Township Police responded to Planet Fitness for a report of a man, Zhang, using his phone to record another without consent in the men's restroom. Upon arrival, Zhang spoke to officers and admitted to recording multiple men while they used the restroom at Planet Fitness and a local Wawa. An examination of Zhang's phone revealed 49 videos of unidentified victims. The videos were recorded between May and September of 2024 in Atlantic County and beyond. In March 2025, the defendant was arrested on a warrant, and the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office argued for his pretrial detention. The motion was denied by the court following a detention hearing. Zhang was indicted this week and is scheduled to appear before the Honorable Joseph Levin, JSC, in the Atlantic County Superior Court on April 25th. These charges and indictment are an accusation and are not proof of guilt. And this information is all coming from the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. I think this is like every person's worst nightmare of using a public restroom or a changing room is that the idea you can be recorded and everybody has a camera in their pockets. I don't know. And as a woman, it creeps me out. But as a guy, did you ever expect to hear about that?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest with you, I am a bit of an age, and I can remember when cell phones did not have cameras, like I'm sure the two of you can. And
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, the technology first premiered in Japan, and it was a problem in Japan, people being recorded and photographed in the restroom. And this was years ago. How long have our phones had cameras now? 10, 15,
Forever.
20 years?
Something like that.
And yeah, I'm not surprised by this. I'm sure he's not the first to photograph in the men's room. He's not going to be the last. Yeah, not surprised, alarmed, sure, but not surprised by this in the least bit. You introduce any technology and someone is going to pervert it. And yes, I used that term purposely.
And rightfully. In other words, unfortunately, the people who abuse the technology are the people we hear about the most. Maybe the rest of us, we would never even think about doing something like that ourselves.
No,
But you hear about these people, and you think, I guess any kind of technology that comes out can be abused or used in a way that it shouldn't, at least, illegal way. But if you're going to be doing this in a public restroom, it is illegal. So maybe that's the thrill. I don't know. But I look at it this way: it's a big responsibility to have a camera on your phone, in the sense that everything you take, film, photos, you put it on that phone, it's stored there. So be aware, if you have a camera, that it's a big responsibility when you use it.
yeah,
And I think that, I don't know, the easiest way to not have a problem is just to not use it in a way that you shouldn't be, I think.
yeah.
Fair. No, I
No,
appreciate it.
that's 100% accurate.
Also, last week marked Paul Enuco's final concert for the Hammonton School District. Mr. Enuco has been a part of the Hammonton School District for 40 years, and he held his final concert last week, I believe, at Hammonton Middle School. Joe, did you have him for music class or Gabe?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I was never in band proper. I
Okay. Were
I,
you
I was
band improper?
I was the guy who moved the equipment, but I was in
You were
choir.
a roadie.
We called ourselves the equipment managers to get
Okay.
the sting of the previous title, which somebody had cutely named Band-Aids. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
That's
No,
that's
I,
really embarrassing.
I'm
Puns
an
are
equipment
terrible.
manager. But he was the music director for the plays that we did. And my senior year, actually, I had written a piece of music for clarinet, trumpet, and percussion ensemble, and he allowed that to be performed. And so there was, oh Lord, maybe 14 or 15 people performing this piece of music that I had written, and I knew Paul, and we're still Facebook friends. And I don't know what that man has been doing for the last 40 years, but I don't think he's aged 5 in the last 40, which is absolutely
Yeah.
extraordinary. The man hasn't changed since at least 1992, and I can't imagine a music program in Hammonton existing in some way without Paul Enuco. He was great in high school. He really shined in the elementary school, like introducing the young kids to instrumentation, to music, to strings, which I wish was a thing when I was in elementary school. How I would have loved to have learned to play the violin when I was 5 or 6 years old.
Is that because you have a
So
fascination with Thomas Jefferson?
Thomas Jefferson, Sherlock Holmes, and I'm convinced I could win the golden fiddle if I went down to Georgia, but it's such a beautiful instrument. And Paul Enuco has been instrumental with, no pun intended. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's
I'm
egregious.
I'm
That's
still
as
sick.
egregious as Band-Aids.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Give me a better word and I'll use it. He's been a vital part of music education for 4 decades, and I think the district is going to be a lot poorer for his absence. Has he earned his retirement? Absolutely. Putting up with people like me for 40 years, buddy, you've earned it. But we're all going to miss you.
Gabe, were you in the band? I don't believe so,
No,
but
I will just say this because I don't think I can elaborate too much on what Joe said. He had a more personal connection with Paul Enuco. I would just say that if you think about it this way, I'm 51 years old. He's been there 40 years, which means I was 11 as a student in the school district when he got there. And if you put your head around that, and as Joe said, he's a timeless looking guy, it's an amazing run for anyone in any career
absolutely.
to say, I did 40 years of something that he clearly loved doing. So I would just wish him well in his retirement and as he moves on. But he certainly gave his all to the Hammonton School District and the students of Hammonton.
I will say this, God bless him, because I was in the band for many years from elementary school through high school. I started playing clarinet, I think, in second grade. He must have the patience of a saint, and two, either no hearing or is a very good man, because those early concerts of elementary school kids, they're torturous. I don't know how my parents sat through them and through my brother's orchestra performances. He plays the violin. Because
He
we were
plays
horrible.
the Sorry.
It's like in the music, man. When the parents hear their kids, they don't
There's my
care what it
Johnny.
sounds like. That's my Johnny,
Yeah,
and
we don't. We're
that's it.
horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just like happy to hear it, regardless of how flat or however it might off
Off
tune.
tempo and everything
Right.
else.
To a parent, it's like music, literally music to their ears.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Enjoy your retirement, Mr. Enuco. We love to see what's next. Moving on to an instrument of a different kind, the county is having firearms safety training Saturday, April 26th from 8:30 to 2 p.m. at the Firearms Training Facility in Egg Harbor Township. The course fee is $40. This class is an introduction to handgun shooting. It provides a general overview of the handgun with an emphasis on handgun safety. This course will also address any specific issues of a participant's handgun, as well as just a general overview. This course also includes range orientation. And again, this is all about safety. There will be a live firearms exercise with the instructors. And this course is required for all new members before they are permitted to shoot on the pistol range. There's more information on the Atlantic County government website. I didn't know they offered such a thing. It makes sense. Hey, you need to do this before you own a weapon. It's, I guess, taking driver's ed, but for guns?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never shot anything other than maybe like a paintball gun.
Really?
Yeah, no, never. I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of responsibility, and I don't know that I don't need that or I should have one.
Yeah, I've fired handguns, rifles, BB guns throughout my life. I'm a fairly decent shot, or at least I used to be a fairly decent shot. My eyes quite naturally have gotten worse as I've gotten older. So I don't trust myself to own a firearm lest I shoot my reflection in the middle of the night. But I have always been a huge advocate of training. If you were going to own a weapon like that, go south so quickly. You need to know precisely what you're doing, and I am thrilled to hear that the county is offering this. I think it's absolutely vital training.
I agree that the vital training is there for the people who use these weapons, and I think it's always encouraging when there's opportunities for people to do that.
Yeah.
As far as myself, I was super good at laser tag. That's about where it began and ended.
Where did you guys used to go to laser tag?
No, it was a game you had the
Yeah,
actual sort of laser tag guns, and
yeah,
you
the
just ran
blade.
them. It was hide and seek.
Yeah,
There
like
wasn't a laser
Oh, you didn't have
tag.
to go to a facility or something?
no,
No,
before that was even a thing, which started in the 90s. Laser tag was an actual toy in the 80s. You had a
right.
little thing that you wore on your chest, and you had a gun. And if you were one of the really cool kids, you had the laser tag helmet or visor
Yeah,
or
we didn't have
something.
the helmet, so we weren't cool.
Yeah,
But
no,
we had the thing that Joe's talking about. It was a sensor, and we had the guns,
yeah,
and you played that laser tag like you're talking about, Gina. What later happened was you would go someplace almost like paintball.
Yeah, like the
Right.
Echelon Mall used to have a laser tag
Right.
facility.
And or down the shore they had them. But originally it was just you bought a few sets and you and your family and friends would run around and shoot each other.
Yeah.
But did it work on Bluetooth?
No, it was a laser.
No,
It was
Bluetooth.
No, it was
Like,
a
how did
laser.
it know? Like, how did it know you? Did it light up or something? How did you know you got hit?
It lit up when
Yeah.
you got hit with the beam.
Yeah.
You hit them with the beam.
And then you had 4 or 5 lights, and if it got to like the 5th light, you were out of the game.
You were out of the game, right?
Yeah, or you
got
could
hit,
set it up as a target.
5 times. This was a big deal back
Yeah,
in the day. We had them.
deal.
Okay.
And highly likely, as I often say on this podcast, if you go to my mother's basement right now, they're probably on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah,
Do you think so still?
Sure. Why not?
As an aside, and I have another aside in just a second, but as an aside, if you've watched the last episode of the last season of Cobra Kai, and this is giving nothing away if no one has seen it, there is one scene where they are testing someone's hit ability, and they actually use a laser tag sensor. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's pulling that out of the 80s. And as another aside, I find it shocking that of the 3 of us, I'm the one that's fired guns.
Why would you say that? That's not shocking.
I
we just got done talking about how you go to a gun club for crabs and spaghetti.
We're city folk, and
Yeah,
we grew up in downtown. You're from the
I grew
farm.
up on Tilton Street. I was in the middle of town. You were out there rural and going to gun clubs for delicious Italian food. Nobody invited us to the gun club. I can tell you that.
So
anytime you have a gun club in your personal history, I feel there's a higher chance you
higher
will
likelihood.
Fire a gun.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think, Joe.
And you're agricultural.
Yeah,
farm
you're,
folk.
Yeah, but like you're from
protecting
like
your farm.
Yeah,
but
what
you're
if there's an errant gopher or something that you have
you're
to shoot?
from New York. Don't they just give them to you when you cross the border?
Don't they just issue you a
Like,
handgun?
I think that's an evil stereotype,
No,
and
so I don't. Well,
resemble
you're
that
going to need
remark.
one.
She was like 7 years old. I don't know that they're going to give her a handgun on her way to Catholic school. Here you go. Here's your Smith & Wesson. They did. It might have come in handy though when didn't they blow up the post office or something up there when you were a kid?
I will not
Gina?
be getting into what my childhood was like. I think we need to focus at Joe, who wears glasses, likes to shoot guns, and before he owns a weapon again, maybe he should go get his eyes checked. And where should he go, Gabe?
He should go no further than seeing Hammonton Family Eye Care for routine and medical eye care for all ages, from glasses to contacts to eye exams and more. Visit Hammonton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South Whitehorse Pike in Hammonton. Call 609-567-7479 or go to HammontonFamilyEyeCare.com.
Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. As we know, we're in spring, and spring means there's a lot of stuff happening. And one of the events that's coming up, of course, is the Hammonton Arts and Music Festival. And that'll be happening the first weekend in May. It happens in downtown Hammonton. There's going to be crafters, and there's going to be lots of music and art. It's Saturday, May 3rd, 2 to 7 p.m., downtown Hammonton. Live music, food. It's a cool event, and this is, I think, the 5th year that they've been doing it. I've been to it at least once. Have you been, Joe? Gabe?
Yeah, I was there for definitely the inaugural year.
Okay.
I've been there a few times, and as the kids say, I don't know if the kids still say this, but as the kids say, it's a whole vibe. Do the kids still say that?
It's a vibe.
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe the kids that go to the arts festival still say. They don't say it's lit, I don't think, anymore. I think that's over.
Is that out? Is that out?
Is that-
We should work
But
on our
it's a whole
phraseology.
vibe, probably. I've been to it. I'll tell you what, it's another we take for granted, but there's so many more events now than when we were young or in our 20s and 30s. So many more events. And this is another great one where people can just come out and have a good time, listen to some music, see some art, be out and about in the springtime in downtown Hammonton. I encourage everybody to go because it's just a nice night out and you're right in town. You're being presented with these sort of events now that everybody can enjoy. So I
Yeah.
think that's what's next coming up. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, because Lord knows when we were growing up, there were, I think I can count 4 events. There was the Feast, there was the Red, White, and Blueberry Fest that started in the late 80s. There was the circus that used to come to the Jamesway parking lot. And there was, what was it, the Huck Finn Day that Grace Patera used to have. And that was it.
Yeah, you throw in a Halloween parade or something like that. But
Right.
that's about
I'm not counting like parades, just events like all day things that you could go to.
Yeah, no, not much. Not much. They always try to do 4th of July things with varying degrees of success. What I like about this event is it's very much of the moment.
Mhm.
Last 5 years, it's very much about what people are seeing in other communities, and but still has that flavor of Hammonton
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I think what's a lot of fun, and I know it's a little controversial, is dodgeball. And Elite Athletic Training over in Blueberry Crossing is having a dodgeball tournament because it's spring break. So it's going to be Friday, April 24th from 10 to 12. There are 3 different age brackets. I loved dodgeball. As a kid, I could not get enough of it. I don't know if it's because in elementary school it was the only way to get your aggression out. But man, dodgeball was a blast. And do you remember the dodgeballs? Like, they were not soft.
No.
I can still hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
And that-
ping
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
it would miss you by a hair and hit the wall.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't believe that. One thing, I believe you love dodgeball. I don't believe it was the only way you got your aggression out in elementary school. But I believe you did love dodgeball.
Most of my aggression was gotten out, if that was a way to phrase it, probably not,
Mm.
by my vocalization of my displeasure. That
Right.
was the only physical way I could
So-
get
Okay.
my
So
aggression
that's
out.
still true.
I
I'm
can
glad
explain to you later, Gabe, more about that if
there
you
aren't
like.
any dodgeballs lying around the house. Whizzed by my ear. But we played in elementary school dodgeball. Remember Coach Delarentis? And
Oh, yeah.
we played at Gina, and nobody died. I don't know. We had fun with it.
Yeah.
We played dodgeball. We played kickball, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So good for them. Little tournament. Why not?
Yeah. I was not so much a fan of dodgeball only because in order to play, I had to remove my glasses, which severely handicapped me on the field of play. Was not a fan. But here I am throwing this ball at blobs over here, blobs over there, and I don't even see the ball come until it hits me in the face. Was not a fan. When I got older and I got contacts, game was on. But when I was younger, no, did not.
I loved it. I still do. I don't think I'd want to go now, but I hope they have a great time on April 24th at EAT or Elite Athletic Training, however you want to call it. I'm hoping
EAT.
EAT. Is that how they do it? I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
Someone's going to eat a dodgeball to the face. I'm sure of that.
Very quick.
Yeah. Hopefully they're insured. And if they're not, who should they call, Gabe?
Person they could call if they were looking to become insured would be Diversified Insurance. See Diversified Insurance for all your commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value-added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609-567-7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
Thanks, Gabe. May 1st is the next meeting of the Historical Society of Hammonton, and they have something a little different going on. This is a multi-part series, and it's called Exploring Hammonton Sacred Spaces, houses of worship, basically. And they're bringing in Dave Murphy, who has written before with us about different houses of worship. And I guess he's now doing like a little road tour. And then we talk about different churches and things like that. This is May 1st, 7 p.m. at the Canoe Club in Hammonton. Just something different. I like this kind of angle they're taking. I wonder if they're going to tie it back to Mount Carmel in some way for like the June or July one. But we've all heard Dave speak. This would be a good night. What do you guys think?
Dave is passionate about his topics. So anybody who goes will be entertained, but also informed and find things that they didn't know before. But one thing I'll say about Dave, he's prepared, and
Oh yeah.
he definitely has the information at his command. So I think it's a nice night out if you're looking to learn more about these houses of worship. I can't think of a better way to do it.
Yeah, and one thing that's always struck me about Dave is that he considers himself a student of religion in general. It's not tied to any particular one, so he's tried to learn as much as he can about all of them. And so, with him speaking on this topic, it is absolutely going to be informed, it's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be an all around good time because Dave knows what he's talking about. Absolutely.
Oh my God, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, again, this is a part one of a series. Keep your eye out for more that'll be coming. We're also moving into Earth Day, and the ACUA is having its annual Earth Day celebration. I have not gone to this. I think we covered it once or twice, but it's going to be Sunday, April 27th from noon to 4 p.m. It's on their Delilah Road location in Egg Harbor Township. They have like electric vehicles. There's fun things for the kids to do. It's all tied into Earth Day and how to live a better, greener, more sustainable life. Not my best thing. It's a rain or shine event. We operated a newspaper for many years. We tried to be very good about recycling. At the end of the day, we were using stuff from trees. Like, how great were we at this stuff? But they will have homemade and handcrafted items, fair trade items, wellness items, eco-friendly items. Again, it's a fun day to go out with the family. It's this Sunday coming up, April 27th, and it's their 33rd annual Earth Day festivity.
Yeah, Earth Day has really grown in stature during the decades. A lot more people have jumped on board with it. I don't think it's at that point where people take it for granted. I just think it's one of those things, though, that has been around a long time. And you hope that people realize, look, and we often talk on this program about the pinelands being in our backyard and agriculture and different things. We can't take this stuff for granted. And we all have to pitch in and do our part to make sure that the next generation, there's an old saying, one generation plants the trees and the next generation gets the shade.
Yeah.
So you hope that in the spirit of that, people will go out to Earth Day and take advantage of everything they have to offer there.
And you said this was the 33rd year, Gina?
Yes, I believe so, according to the website.
That sounds about right. Because Gabe, I'm sure you remember when the ACUA came to be, and when we first started recycling in the town of Hammonton. And then it wasn't very long after that they had their first Earth Day celebration. My sister actually started there almost right after high school, and
Debbie?
worked there. Yeah, she started on the back of a truck, and yeah, and then moved into the office and was there for 25 years. And so it was always very important to our family that we knew what was recyclable and what was not, and to put the things in the proper receptacle, because of all people in town, we should know better.
If you're not doing it,
It wouldn't do for us to get fined if Debbie's worked there for 25 years.
Fair enough.
We were like you for different reasons, but we were a recycling family from the jump. And my mother was always big into ecology and these sorts of things in the 70s and 80s. I do think these days, everyone is more aware of the issues. And I think it's great to have a tentpole event like this that they can go to and really enjoy it.
Something like this is a large scale event. There'll be thousands of people there. I'm sure they're going to have many porta pots. If you're looking to have an event, who should you call for porta pots or to get your septic cleared out, Gabe?
You should call Demiglio Septic and Quality Sanitation. They're here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609-561-3597 or go to demiglioseptic.com for Demiglio Septic, or call 609-561-4666 for Quality Sanitation. Experience the Demiglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability.
Mullica Township School Board is going to be voting on April 30th whether or not to ask the state to allow them to levy Mullica Township residents an additional $750,000. I saw this posted on Facebook by someone I know who was on the township council there for a while. According to her post, this will have a potential impact of 15.63 cents on the tax rate, or $156.30 tax increase per $100,000 in assessment, in addition to the 8-cent increase already proposed. So this is a potential, according to this Facebook post, 23.63 cent increase in 1 year.
Yeah.
This is a lot, and they do have to get approval from the state for this. Again, like Joe said last week, you go to these meetings because you want your voices heard, and if you want to complain about what's going on in your municipality, you need to show up and be heard. So April 30th, 7 p.m., Mullica Township School Board meeting. More information online. But that is a devastating amount of a tax increase.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about the potential for $236.30 per $100,000 assessment.
Yeah.
So if you've got a $200,000 property, you're talking about double that, and it goes on up. That we clench at the potential for a 1 cent tax increase or a half a cent tax increase. This is a massive increase, and I can't imagine. I will say that there were a few times during the plague when
Again with the plague,
when I covered via Zoom some Mullica Township meetings, and boy, they got involved. Like, there were hundreds of people in the Zoom for the Mullica Township meeting. So I don't know if that was atypical, or I don't know if that is typical of the community response for Mullica. But in any event, if you're thinking of being involved, this is the time to go and make your voice heard for good. I mean, in favor of or in opposition to, because if they're asking for this much money, somebody thinks they need it, clearly. But this is the opportunity to get involved and have your voice be heard, because my word, that is the potential for a massive tax increase.
and the public better get it. It better become typical very quickly that they show up and they are interested and they make their opinion known. As you said, Joe, on either side. But I will say, on the side of making some kind of economic sense here, the 1-2 punch of that kind of double-digit tax increase, coupled with the economic pressures that are on their way, okay, for the residents of that community on a federal level on down, could be, as you use the term, devastating. That's the 1-2 punch. Not only are you raising the taxes, but the cost of many other things may be about to go up significantly as well. So I would suggest to Mullica Township residents, now is not the time to hang back. I think you need to be in these meetings. You need to ask questions. Even if you don't go to the meetings, find your committee people and talk to them about what's going on, or the school board people in this case. So but my suggestion is, don't act like it's not happening.
Yeah.
Because it's happening.
For sure.
Or the discussion that's being held is happening.
Absolutely. It's almost summer. The school season is coming to an end very quickly, and this is the season where I see a million ads for summer camps. Back in my day, you had 2 choices. Do you know what I mean? You had the public camp and then the private camp. We were public camp kids. My parents did not send us to private camp. Although I did go to Girl Scout camp a couple times, and that was like sleepaway camp, but that was a different thing. So we used to do like the community rec center camp that we went to. There was the private camp. But in South Jersey, there's a gajillion choices. First of all, you have the gold standard, Camp Tuscaloosa. People have been going there for generations. They have owners that have been there now for a number of years. Sam and Lisa, people trust them to watch over their kids. But then you have specialty camps, like St. Joe Academy is having some athletic camps, and Rowan College is having some camps, and even Little Cubs Preschool is having camps, and there's camps for theater and camps for this. There that many choices when you guys were kids? Do you remember?
We went to Camp Mohawk.
That was the farm?
Yeah.
That was the farm. Yeah,
Okay.
that was our
Yeah.
camp. Camp Tuscaloosa has been there since I think Vince DeLaurentis came out fully formed and just put down his dodgeball bag, and there was Camp Tuscaloosa. I know there used to be some sort of a summer consortium that students could go to for different gifted and talented things, and I always wanted to go and take fencing, and for some reason my parents did not want me to take fencing, so I never went to that. But yeah, our camps was go on the farm. There's your camp. Yeah.
I worked on the farm of my cousin Dennis Donio's farm, which was in the Elm section of Winslow Township. But I was aware of, we went to camp. We went to Camp Tuscaloosa when it was at the lake. And in that era, there was the former lake caretaker's house. It was Vince DeLaurentis lived there, great spot. And we did a lot of crafts and we did a lot of things that were very Pine Barrensy, and you were in the lake, you fished, and this sort of thing. Then across town, where Camp Tuscaloosa is now, was Cardner's Corral, which was another camp. Coach Cardner over there, that was more ritzy. It was like it had what the Beverly Hillbillies would call a cement pond. You had a swimming pool, and you had all that sort of stuff that's there now, 40 years later. And you look back and you say, wow, the two camps sustained themselves. And then Tuscaloosa still exists, like you said, Gina, as the gold standard, but it moved. It was no longer, I guess that would have been more like a public camp in its era, but because it was on town property. We had a great time there. I learned to swim in that lake from counselors there and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Is that why you glow in the dark?
That is why I glow. That I learned to swim in the Hammonton Lake, and that's why I'm my own nightlight. No, everyone, I'm not my own nightlight. There was no Joe didn't have the plague. I'm not radioactive. But look, I did swim in the lake. What am I going to tell you?
I just think there's a lot of choices for summer camp. You also have vacation Bible schools, and you can now do your CCD during the summer for 2 weeks. And let's not forget, is Camp Hiawassee still happening over in Winslow Township, just like the other side of the border? That's a religious-based camp. There's so many choices now, and how do you decide which one to do as a parent? Okay, week 1, Tommy's going to this. Week 2, he's going to art camp. Week 3, he's going to band camp. Week 4, he's going to basketball camp. I think that's just a lot.
It is, but that's the way it is now. And remember, you're leaving out all the athletic stuff, the travel teams. And
you mean the actual athletic event?
You're leaving out the summer now for a kid is so different and vastly divergent from when we were kids because it's so structured and so scheduled compared to just having wide swaths of time to read comic books or hang out or whatever or play with your friends. It is different. So people do put them into different camps. And I guess in a way, look, it's great the camps are there so they can get slotted into them each week.
Fair enough. I think it's time to find out what's happening in Hammonton, Gabe. May I have the community calendar for the week?
Absolutely. And that community calendar, by the way, brought to you by Rocco's Townhouse. And Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat. Delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609-561-9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. And now the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar. This weekend, Saturday or Sunday, stop by the 6th annual food drive in memory of Chris Sacco. Drop off your items at 426 Passmore Avenue. Then head to dinner at Rocco's Townhouse. Donations will be shared with the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry, the school pantries, and others. Also of note, Designer Bag Bingo on April 26th will be hosted by the Knights of Columbus in ACUA. Raffles, door prizes of 50-50, 10 games with a bonus game 11 for additional purchase. Doors open at 5:30 and bingo starts at 7. ACO battles Alzheimer's at Paradise Lakes Campground on April 27th, a one-day musical fundraiser featuring some of South Jersey's top cover bands in a picturesque setting in the woods near Hammonton. In addition to the bands, there will be raffles, crafters, and food trucks. And then the Shawnee Shoehands Walk and Run for Autism will be Sunday, April 27th at Hammonton Lake Park.
Thanks, Gabe. And for more information on all of these events, please check social media and the websites. It is been an interesting week in terms of fires. I don't know if you guys followed the Danny's wildfire that occurred in Vineland.
Yep.
It started off with a handful of acres and it quickly went up to 1,000 acres over the weekend, specifically on Saturday. Fire crews worked to get it contained. It just shows you how vulnerable we are. I think we forget that we are sometimes surrounded by forest. We live especially if you live closer to downtown Hammonton, you forget about that very woodsy area that's just a mile or so outside of town. But this could happen to us very quickly. As the weather warms up, I think we need to be very mindful of how we walk in the woods, hike in the woods, what we bring in there. Don't have a campfire unless you absolutely have to, and don't if it says you can't. We need to be a good stewards of Wharton State Forest and all parts of the woods when we go into them, because wildfires can spread so quickly and the devastation is just tremendous.
Yeah, especially since, if I'm not mistaken, this is now the second that we have discussed in 2 weeks that have reached a rather large scale.
I think so. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, and I think we need to all be aware. The other thing is how these fires get started is important to investigate. I certainly hope they are accidental. Sometimes they're lightning strike, we know that. But if there's other causes that are more nefarious, then there needs to be a crackdown, because I think the problem is we could talk about we had some rain, but it could easily get really dry really fast again. And then we're in real trouble, because I think, like Gina said, we're so close to the woods, to the Pine Barrens, and we've been very fortunate during the years. But man, if you look at those pictures of any of these wildfires, it could get out of control very quickly. So you do hope there's people looking into just what's starting some of these fires or over the years. It's not just necessarily these. I don't have enough information about that, but you do wonder sometimes, how do they get started?
Yeah. It's going to be May very quickly, like incredibly fast. And one of the holidays, if you will, that we've all adopted as Americans is Cinco de Mayo. And the Hamilton Family Success Center is going to be having a night celebrating Cinco de Mayo with food and games. That is the May 1st event. It's going to be again at 4 p.m. at the 310 Bellevue Avenue County Building. There's going to be food, games, and fun. And if you ever check out the Hamilton Family Success Center's either social media or their website, you can see there's a ton of events that are coming up, very family oriented. Most of them are free or very nominal costs. And again, this is another one of those events. And anytime you can go out and get together and have some tacos, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's nice to see the outreach to bridging the gap between the Latino community and the community at large, and that everybody blends together. And there's a celebration for Cinco de Mayo. So we wish them well. It should be a fun night.
Any night's a fun night if tacos are involved.
I know, exactly.
I stand by that.
You can't go wrong.
You could just go to Fiesta Mexicana, for example, and then walk over to Bagliani's and pick up what you need to make your own tacos from there. Gabe, can you tell us a little bit about Bagliani's Market?
Sure, Gina. And you're right about the proximity. When you think about Fiesta Mexicana is right there next door to Bagliani's Market, which takes up almost the whole half a block there or more. At Bagliani's Market, they always say, we treat our customers like family. With a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more, Bagliani's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagliani's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609-561-0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Thanks, Gabe. I haven't told Gabe this, Joe, but it is time for this Donio household to start doing some spring cleaning. I want to go drawer by drawer and just get rid of all the unnecessary stuff that we have. I don't know that we need a dumpster, but I feel like we could fill up a couple of toters just by cleaning out a few drawers. Like we all have that junk drawer in our house. I might have more than one. I hate to admit it. Have you done any spring cleaning? I know you moved recently, so did you disperse with a lot of stuff? What did you do?
I've dispersed with a lot of stuff. I actually created a junk drawer. I haven't had one of those in a number of years, so
Okay,
I
good for you.
yeah, I created
Nice
one.
work.
But yeah, no, it's certainly a time to divest oneself. Figure if I haven't seen this in 8, 10 years, unless it's something that was, I don't know, a picture that I made in kindergarten and I'm holding on to that because if it's something I haven't seen in 8 years, I probably don't need it. Not a huge fan of spring cleaning because I have an emotional attachment to just about everything that I have. But yeah,
Well, I used to be like you, but that's over. So I can tell you, like Gina, I think tiptoed into that. Oh, we're gonna do spring cleaning at the house. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's get rid of anything that needs to be gotten rid of. I've already done.
Odd, please mark this date and time down because Gabe Donio says he's going to help me do the spring cleaning.
Yeah, that's
So
well.
let's make sure that he
Who
actually
who
helps.
who generally does it first? I thought that was me, but
No, you surface. You don't want to go
we've done
deep into the
waves
drawer.
of it, and there's been a lot of stuff. This is why I say it's over. That has hit the dumpster or the
Mhm.
toters already, and it felt good to do it. I hate to say it, but after a while, you're just like, why do you need the stuff? What is it there for?
I have
So
too many shoes, and Gabe
right,
is a pen thief. We
that's
probably have enough pens to reopen Tapper's stationery if we
yeah.
wanted to.
it's a lot of stuff. But the sentimentality, Joe, probably kicks in with the stuff that'll be left will be the important stuff
Yeah.
Yeah.
that But I think there's going to be 2 or 3 layers of, oh my god, what are we holding on to this for? So that's it. No, I'm ready when we'll do it together.
I don't think I'm one of those people who could host a yard sale, but I do love going to a yard sale to find stuff. I'm always looking for a cookie gun, like a Christmas cookie
Hmm.
gun, but one from the late 70s, early 80s. Those were the best. We had those growing up forever, and my brother would always pick up one for parts for my mom. I still continuously look out for them. And the Hammonton Townwide yard sale is Saturday, May 31st from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can register at the Hammonton Family Success Center, 310 Bellevue Avenue, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. And it only costs $10 to be listed on their big list of participants, and that'll be posted on Facebook. And your last day to register for the Townwide Yard Sale is Thursday, May 22nd by 5 p.m. And the benefits the Hammonton Drug Alliance and the Success Center. And Joe, you've covered this event. There's a lot of people participating and a lot of people shopping.
Oh, all over town. Absolutely. It's especially I remember there were some streets that you simply couldn't drive down because the entire street, everybody had stuff outside. Cars were lined up and there was barely enough room to drive down Grape Street. I'm looking at you. It's just all over. And I'm with you. Like, I like the idea of hosting my own yard sale, but if it's gotten to the point where I am willing to sell X. I'm not selling this mug, by the way. No way. It's how much is this? It's just take it. What do you mean? Just take it. And then people don't because they figure there must be something wrong with it. When really, man, I'll give you money to take this stuff off of my lawn. Just get it out of my house, would you please?
Yeah.
And that's not really how yard sales are supposed to work. And people then look at you suspicious.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why the toter slash dumpster process, I think. It doesn't
Also,
involve all those people on your lawn.
or
You
what
have
if
to
they
talk
buy
with them.
what if they buy a blender from you? Oh my god, I got a blender from Gina Rulo and it doesn't work. I only
That's
paid a
another problem.
nickel. But can you believe she hosed me for a nickel? Oh my god. I
I
don't want
mean,
that reputation.
I don't know. I'm torn now. I think to myself, what if we just did that to people? And
Sell them broken stuff?
not sell them broken stuff, but let them tell their
Gabriel.
stories. Oh, I got hosed for 5 cents or whatever. But then they're out there talking about us. So what's the big deal?
Does
It's
this
good promotion.
Does this still work? You're paying a nickel for it. Does it matter if it still
Yeah,
works?
I mean, really.
Yeah.
It's Hammonton. Of course it
Yeah,
matters.
yeah.
I'm gonna say that I'm always looking for new art to replace things that we have on our walls, and Stockton University is having a new exhibit at Kramer Hall in Hammonton. So maybe we should go check that out, Gabe, and see if there's something new that we want to bring home. Clique 25 is presented by Artsy. It is on view now through June 27th. They had a reception earlier this month. It started in 2016, and it's a series of photography that has brought together numerous different artists. And I think the way they posted it on Stockton's page was talented and provocative. So this year they're going to have 4 of South Jersey's most creative photographers capturing images of 16 of South Jersey's artists and photographers. This continues the tradition. It should be really interesting. It should be really engaging. So art should make you talk. It should provoke thought, feeling. I like to see how Stockton and the Noise Museum go from basket weaving to art that's a little maybe more avant-garde or a
Yep.
little different, and how they don't just stay in one area. They're not just committed to one type of art. They're really embracing all kinds of art and thoughts.
Yeah, if you think about it, we keep talking about this way. Again, 10, 15 years ago, no Stockton campus in town, no noise museum,
Yeah,
no art event like the one downtown,
Yeah.
nothing like this readily accessible. There's a lot, the profile of the arts in Hamilton has increased exponentially in the last 10 to 15 years. There's no way to deny that.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Joe, will you be heading over to Stockton to check this out?
I may very well. I do trek down there from time to time. I'm certainly interested to see what manner of images they're going to be capturing, and Lord knows I am a fan of photography, and that's all my life I've been a fan of photography.
You
May
worked
very
for
well.
Jack Mazzio for years, didn't you?
I did. I worked there from '96 to 2003.
Wow.
Jack taught me everything I know about composition, so if you don't like my pictures, blame Jack.
I'm sure Jack will love hearing that.
Fair enough.
That's great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Poor Jack. I think Jack is one of those guys who's always, whenever you see him at an event and you're taking pictures, he's, what camera are you using? You could do
Oh
better.
yeah. He will take every opportunity to help whoever it is improve. Standing
Right.
next to a total stranger. No, you want your flash on. No. Get them together. Wait, no, they're under a light. Have them move. He will help. He's just a teacher by nature, and he's great
Yeah.
at it.
Absolutely. Mazzio Studio is a legacy business in Hammonton, and another legacy business in Hammonton is Master Wire. Gabe, can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yes, Gina, and we welcome Master Wire as one of our newest sponsors here to the Jersey Oddcast. For more than 40 years, Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri-state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products to do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to install your fence, they've got you covered. Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Master Wire at 609-567-1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I love odd things about New Jersey, and every week before the show, I try to find something new that I didn't know about New Jersey that's like, huh, this is super cool. I wonder if anybody else is going to find this interesting. So, my weird New Jersey fact for the week, or my odd New Jersey fact for the week, was the first airplane passenger flight flew from New York to Atlantic City on May 3rd, 1919. And that anniversary is coming up. It'll be 106 years, I guess that would be in just a week or so. And again, how cool is that? Atlantic City Airport, New York, very interesting, and passenger planes. I don't think Atlantic City Airport probably lived up to its potential as much as it could be, but what are you going to do?
Would that have been Bader Field?
I think that would have been Bader Field back then. Absolutely, yeah.
It did grow, but yeah, Atlantic City Airport is still lagging behind. It's unfortunate. How many carriers go out of there now? Spirit?
I think that's it, maybe. I don't know, and they're
Yeah.
not that regular.
I do know they were on an episode of Family Guy once years ago, and I was pleased to see that they got the airport logo correct. Like, they flew down from Quahog into Atlantic City, and they had the logo. I'm like, oh, they did their homework. Nifty.
That's it. They probably thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Leave it the way it is, which it's still that logo, isn't it? That hasn't changed.
Yeah, the nice little swoopy. Yeah.
I think it's cool to think of something more than 100 years ago now. At the time, that was like a moonshot.
Oh, yeah.
Passenger
Crazy.
flight. I think it's cool. We were having a debate, and we want the oddballs out there to help settle this for us with our odd poll question of the week. Is breakfast for dinner acceptable? Do you find that it's an okay thing to do? Will you have breakfast for dinner?
Yep. Okay or not okay?
Like, is that even a question? Yes.
It is
yes,
a question.
Of course it's acceptable. And any kind. Like, all right, tonight we're having frosted flakes. Okay. Tonight we're having ham and eggs. Yeah.
Gabe disagrees.
I disagree because I'm just going to say this to you. How often do you do it?
Often, actually. I probably have breakfast for dinner once a week, once every 10 days.
Once every 10 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gabe and I have been together 100 years, and I don't think we've ever done it because he does not like it.
No, I don't. Well, have you? You don't like it either. I don't.
I like it on occasion. I'm an on occasion person. I'm not gonna make you eat if you don't like breakfast for dinner.
As a kid, I had pancakes for breakfast a few times for dinner.
Aren't you ever just sitting there and like 5, 6 o'clock and just be like, we must have waffles. We must have waffles forthwith? No,
he never feels that way. No.
Oh my word! I'm
pizza.
Shocked.
I feel that way about pizza. We must have pizza forthwith.
Yeah,
I never feel that way about waffles at 6 o'clock.
And then you have pizza cold for breakfast.
Yeah, I've never done that either. No. To be honest with you.
Gabe's very proper.
I've known you 30 years. It's like I just met you. Oh my word.
I'm saying, that's why the question's being asked. Let's see what the oddballs think. Is it okay or not okay to eat breakfast for dinner?
I will weigh in with this. When I was a kid, my father would travel sometimes for work, and my mother would make me peppers and eggs because my brother didn't like it either. So we would have peppers and eggs, and sometimes on the round Kaiser roll, or just peppers and eggs, like an omelet kind of a situation, which I had recently when we all went out to dinner together. I had peppers and egg sandwich. Like, it's amazing. Love it. Give me 7. But I don't often say, let's have an omelet for dinner or let's have pancakes. I guess being with Gabe for 100 years, like I said, I know he doesn't like it, so we never have it. Now, will Gabe Donio have cereal for a dessert or for a late evening snack? Absolutely, Gabe Donio will have a bowl of Cheerios.
Does that count as dinner? I guess it could.
No, it's second dinner because you're a hobbit.
Oh my God. That's nice.
Oh, no, there are many nights where I'm like, you know what? I want SOS for dinner, and so I get SOS for dinner.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I will see what people think. Maybe more people will say, no, it's fine, perfectly fine to have breakfast for dinner.
Yeah. No, I think it's a moral imperative. Absolutely.
I love how Joe's like, Joe's basically, when he heard this and the pizza thing for breakfast, I don't even know who you are anymore. What happened?
You pod people are getting really good, but you always screw something up.
Yeah. What? Again, as I said before, you never ask. So this stuff is all being brought out now on the show.
Fair enough.
Joe, what will the weather be this week? Will you let us know?
I can certainly let you know, and since you asked, it sounds like it is time for the Oddcast Forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609-561-3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season, and it is going to continue to be on the warm side. Wednesday, we're looking at partly cloudy with a high of 74 and a low of 49. Thursday, we're looking also at partly cloudy with a high of 74 and a low of 50. And then Friday, it's going to start off partly cloudy with the potential for rain later on with a high of 71 and a low of 58.
Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate that.
Of course.
This has been another fun episode. If anybody wants to get in touch with us or if they're interested in being one of our sponsors, we only have a couple of spots left. We are limiting our number of sponsors, so just get in before it closes. What do they have to do, Joe, to find us?
They can find us on Facebook or Instagram. They can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or iHeartRadio. They can email us at jerseyoddcast@gmail.com or call us at 609-444-6178.
Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
So long.